Hi, welcome. We're here with this month's cosplayer of the month, Diana Green. She is Green Cosplayer on Twitter, and I invited her as she's been doing a lot of really cool things in the cosplay center, and she also did kind of a group cosplay, which was kind of cool, and it came out beautiful. So we'll start with our first question was, where are you based and how did you find Flesh and Blood?
So I'm based in the United States, specifically Virginia. I found Flesh and Blood through a friend. I had been playing Magic Commander for a while, and I had gotten out of it, and I was just chilling. And my friend was like, "Have you heard of Flesh and Blood?" Basically, the joke. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Flesh and Blood?
Yeah.
Is what she did, and I was like, "Sure." And so I got in. I started playing a few games, and I was like, "This is really neat. I like how it's a newer game because the thing that I didn't like about Magic was I joined it so late. I felt like I was always so behind. But with Flesh and Blood, it's like I could always keep up. So it felt more, I don't know, like it felt nicer for me. And I just liked the game a lot. So, and then here we are. I'm still playing it 1 year later.
Wonderful friends have given you so many opportunities by introducing you to the game.
Yeah.
So what was your first cosplay? Was it the one that the Lena Bell, or was it a...
Yeah. So my first cosplay was Lena Bell. They were having a battle hardened in New Jersey. And I was words. So that was my first like big event that I was planning on going to, and I went with my mom, who's actually in like the background looking away in that picture, and a friend of mine. And I was, it really just came out of the blue. I was driving one day to my armory, and I was like, my friend had told me for these events, people don't necessarily eat or drink, like there's not a break. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to do this? Like, because the shitty Christmas present card had just come out. So, oh my God. Yeah. So
you had a good helper there by the looks of it.
Yes, my cat is my best / worst helper. She always really likes playing with strings. And yeah, I decided to get the Hugs drinks because they looked, well, sorry. When I first did it, I actually got Capri Suns just because they were easy. But I ended up getting Hugs later because they looked a lot like, little potion bottles. And people were like, no, that's great. I love that. So, and this is
such a good showing it. Oh, sorry.
This was in Baltimore. Yeah. And this was my first time actually cosplaying in like a competition. I decided to up my game because when I first did it in New Jersey, it wasn't eligible for a contest because I hadn't made my shirt and pants. But this one I actually like put everything together and competed for the first time. And it was just so much fun getting to meet everybody and like getting to pass out the drinks to people. Like everyone's always so appreciative to get it. And it's really funny with the Hugs in particular. Because people get really nostalgic because Hugs are things in the US that people drank like as a kid. And it was the bad drink. Like, it was not like the preferred drink, but and it's hard to find now actually. But you can still find them. So when people see them, they're like, oh man, these things again. So, but it worked out because Lena Bell's like potions aren't necessarily good tasting or like functional. So I was like, this is perfect. So when my partner, he's the one who suggested it, my partner, and I was like, no, this is perfect. So,
and it's amazing the little props that make everything work, right?
Yes. Definitely. The box was, I started off with that bag that I had from a friend because I was going with like the Santa theme, but I ended up transitioning to the box because it is a Hugs box. I just painted it and like put some stuff on it to make it mine and to make it a little more personal.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to put drinks in there than it is to put in the big sack where you have to like dig and try to find it. So my shoulder was like, maybe you should get a box. It was like, okay, we're gonna get a box that we could carry with 2 hands.
So. Yeah, this was awesome. And So, okay. So, what has been your favorite cosplay?
So this one was really hard to think about. I think it's honestly Lena Bell. Partially because she is my first cosplay, and because of the interactions I have with people while doing the cosplay with her, and like the really positive reactions I have. Like I've given like socks to people and like the drinks, and I've also given away like the actual cards, the shitty Christmas present. Whenever I collect those, like whenever I see them, I pick them up just so that I can give them out at these kind of things. And
Yeah.
it's really funny because people, like, not everyone has these cards. So like when I, or because like they might have joined this year or something. So I really like giving them. I just love giving things out, and people will find me at other events and be like, "Hey, like I'm wearing your socks today," like, and I made so many connections. Like this one judge, I forget his name. I feel so bad, but like I see him all the time in the U.S. and I always make sure to give him like a blue hugs. Like that's what he always asks for. It's like I always,
Yeah.
so I try to walk up to like certain judges, like certain people. Like I know Fino, he really likes the socks. He's like, I'm making a like sock collection. Like it's gonna be in the backdrop of my videos. I was like, dang, I love that. So it's very
Hopefully, they give
heartwarming.
people good luck.
Sorry.
Hopefully, they give people good luck.
Yes, that is the goal. So, and they're just, I always have fun picking them out too, because I get the cheapest socks, but I also get the cheapest socks that are fun. Like I don't just get like plain white socks. I'm like, okay, they gotta be fun socks. And then I purposely mismatch them, which I find really fun. And people sort of look at it and they're like, but you know, it's, I mean, I've gotten positive reactions from it, so I keep doing it. So the only problem is they don't necessarily fit people with larger feet. But like I've talked to people that have larger feet, and they're like, they usually give it to like their kid or like their wife or somebody.
Yeah.
So as like a joke, so it works out.
So cute. So we're gonna talk. What challenges do you have? We'll talk more about the more so with the. Why are you coming up? Oh yeah. So what challenges do you have building the Lena Bell?
So
Not the Lena Bell, the Melody.
yeah, no worries. Yeah. Basically like time management was a really big issue for me, and like how to like prioritize everything, because this was my biggest cosplay I've done. So because I've done Lena Bell, I've also done like a female Bravo, which was fun as well. But yeah, this cosplay, it had a lot of parts. Like it had the feet, it had the leggings, it had like the base, it had the skirt, it had the hats, it had the feathers, the shoulder things, like the arm things. Like it just had a lot of little details. And I was like, how do I even start this? Like, so I ended up starting just with the blue onesie thingy. That was my base. I bought that. I was like, it's close enough color. And then I started on the skirt. The skirt was the first thing I actually did. And that was a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning from that skirt. Oh my gosh. I had never ruffled a skirt before. So
There we go. There's the back.
perfect. I never ruffled a skirt before. So I was like, I broke so much string trying to do this. So much string. But I'm really proud of how it came out. And I did cheat a little bit on the red. The red was actually like pre-bought ruffles. But I did, as you can see on the top, I did ruffle like the top of the skirt so that it could actually like have folds in it. But there was a lot of stuff I hadn't done before. I'd never worked with feathers. It was my first time like painting in various like modes. Like I painted the skirt, I painted the shoes, I painted the top, which was like spandex, and the leggings. So it was a lot. So I think the challenge I had was, like learning how to do everything. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of trial and error. And so it took a lot more time to do things than I necessarily thought they did. And like the skirt itself, I had to not do anything for a week after that because I was so burned out. from doing it. I was like, I need to take a break and just like appreciate what I've done here and just like, so, but you know, lots of trial and error, but I'm proud with the outcome of everything. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge I had.
And now I'm just going to put up your meep once I find it. So, because people have been asking the Discord, that's not on the agenda, but I think this is a good time. People have been asking about your meep, so I'll just find it. So your meep, so you made it for your Bravo cosplay.
Yes.
And a lot of people saw
I have it right here,
you...
actually.
Ah, cool. Yeah, bring them out.
Find it. There we go. It's a little messed up. I haven't taken care of him in a little bit, but he's here. This is my meep. So it was pretty obviously a Momo originally, but like, you know, I folded the tail, made sure to add the earrings of Bravo because in the lore, the meat marbles did steal Bravo's earring, and that's how they met. So, and I did a lot of looking into the background because meeps are most often portrayed as being green in the art, but they're actually every color. And so I decided it was okay to go with the white, and I really liked the orange with it, so that's why I chose that. And yeah, that was my Bravo cosplay. That was a lot of fun. I did mess up that one. This is a cosplay I'll look back on, and I'm like, I can see so many mistakes, and I want to die a little bit, but it's okay. It's because of learning, because like that gold fabric was beautiful. I love that gold fabric. Like looking at it, working with that gold fabric was one of the most painful things I've ever done because it was like very stretchy, and you can tell on the bottom it's a little crumpled up. So that was, I definitely learned something from that the material of the cloth matters a lot because the base of that coat was terrible. So I couldn't do anything about it. Once it was done, if I had tried to tear it off, it would have torn the entire thing. So yeah, it was.
So that's something you learned from.
Yeah, so I definitely learned from this one. But in this one, I also did some leather work, so which I was pretty proud of. Personally, I've done leather work in the past. I actually LARP, like live action role play, so I've done a little bit of dress up per se, but like dress up wearing like armor and like accessories and things. So this is Flesh and Blood was definitely the first time I had done like an actual cosplay, like to actually emulate a certain character. And the Bravo cosplay was also really fun because I wore it to this one event where there's a Star City Games Con, which is they were hosting like a magic tournament, and people kept walking up to me and they're like, "Are you the new pirate?" And I was like, "No, I'm sorry. I'm a character from Flesh and Blood." And then some people just thought I was like wearing it to wear it, like that was just like what I was wearing. And even people in Flesh and Blood would like look at me and be like, "What are you cosplaying?" And then I put, the hero I was playing was Bravo, so I just sort of push it forward a little bit. Oh my gosh, this picture was great.
I love this picture.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite moments, honestly. Like, it was definitely one of those things where it's like, guys, we have to make sure we get this picture because like it's perfect. This was Vegas, I think. It's crazy how you lose track of things. But
that was Vegas because I think that's the one where Carolina came second. So yeah, this is Vegas.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and like the people in this picture were great. Like the Oldhim player, he definitely had the Oldhim cosplayer was definitely an Oldhim personality. It was pretty great. He was like just chilling. He was like, I can't really move much in this cosplay, so I'm just gonna chill. I'm like, that's valid. And like the Shiana cosplayer, like I was on this channel with him, and he's great, and like he put so much effort into this. And then Carolina, of course, is just like, you know, has so much confidence. And
Yeah.
as Lexi, it's like, you can tell she's just having a good time. Like she was wearing that costume all day. Like she and I were the ones wearing the costumes all day, and we were having a good time. Also, you can see there's carpet on the bottom there. So we were both complaining about wearing heels all day on that carpet. So it was worthwhile.
So do you have any tips for new players?
Something that
new cosplayers,
something that I would have loved to have would be like a friend joining me, like doing cosplay together, like having the friend that introduced me, like both of us doing cosplay and learning how to do things and like working on it together. But just like having a community is really important. It's really important for questions. Like sometimes I look at something and I'm like, I have no idea how to even do this. And it's really nice to just have a community or like some people you can talk to be like, hey, how do I do this? Like I have a few friends that I can ask. Like my partner is like not a master in leather work, but he's like very, very skilled in it. He has all the leather tools, which is great. So I can just borrow them anytime. So I'm always asking him for tips on how to do things. And even for like my upcoming cosplay is like, sometimes I don't like to ask the cosplay chat for like things that are concepts, things that I'm still like trying to like, I like to know what my options are. And I think that's the most challenging thing to realize when you're cosplaying is that there's options. Like, if you want to like, let me see. For Melody, for instance, this is like my tights. So there are many options that I made for making this. One, I could have made these leggings myself. I did not. I bought pants and then I cut them like just right here. So that, and talking to friends, they were like, yeah, you should never make leggings. Leggings are really complicated and getting them to fit well is difficult. Like if I was a beginning cosplayer, I wouldn't necessarily know that. So like, and even for painting this, like stripes, I contemplated long and hard about how to do these stripes. And the options were basically sewing or sewing in an embroidered way or painting it. And I chose painting it because that was just the easier way, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I would say definitely my tip would be to seek guidance, to like look for resources. Don't necessarily look at something and be like, this is how I'm going to do it. Like there's usually other ways that are easier or even like better overall. Like painting is not necessarily the best way of doing this. And the way I painted this is terrible. Like you can look at this up close and be like, wow, those lines are not straight. So, and if you've never painted before, you wouldn't necessarily know that using tape is really helpful for like making sure those lines are nice and crisp. I was just lazy with this particular one and running out of time. Like I said, the time management was a big thing. And yeah. That's my big tip, I guess.
Okay, so we've got a few community questions. I think you probably saw most of them in Discord. So got the first one up. So Sine asks, in regards to cosplay, what did you initially think would be a massive pain to do or boring that you actually came to enjoy?
So I guess back to this, like the painting. I have never really done a lot of painting. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be such a pain. And I don't really know much other than keep it going the same way. But it actually ended up being like a really soothing process. Like, and it's not something you can hurry. It's like, this will need 3 coats of paint. Like, so I spent a lot of days just like reading and painting. Like, just... It was a very like calming thing to do, and it wasn't nearly as much of a pain to do that I originally thought. So, and I brought in my good old mannequin.
Yes, that's so cool.
Yeah, so the mannequin is how I painted the spandex. Because like this fabric is stretchy.
Yeah.
So I basically dressed my mannequin and painted it, and that was honestly so much fun. It was just so amusing. I had like a dead mannequin in my kitchen for like 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that was like something that I came to enjoy overall.
Yeah, that mannequin's one you've made, so it's basically your size, right? So it's
Yeah.
cast from you.
Yeah, which is like I had a friend suggest it to me, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is perfect." And it was actually a really fun time having a couple of my friends like help me make it and everything. It took a lot longer than I thought it would, and afterwards I sat down and I was like, "This is so nice." But, it's really nice to just have this mannequin for like any other projects I could ever work on. So yeah.
Okay, so next question is from Alexandra. She asks, do you have a background in sewing, or did you learn everything for the cosplay? Those ruffles seemed difficult.
So I have some experience in sewing. From LARPing, I have sewed like a few armor pieces. I have never done anything complicated other than like making straight lines. But boy, could I make straight lines. I was like, let's go. And for Lena Bell, that was my first time making like clothes. They were not good. They're not good fitting clothes. Like the armpits are too tight, all the like I'm really bad at making things fit well. So when the skirt came up, I was like, well, the best way to do the skirt is to just to make the sewing. And yes, the ruffles were very challenging. The ruffles took definitely the most time, I think, for the cosplay, like both with learning how to do it and actually doing it. I am so grateful for my one friend, Jamie. They really helped me out with teaching me how to do it at all, because I didn't even know how to do it. I was like, how do I make this skirt look like this? Like I was looking up resources. I was like, I am just so lost. Definitely should have been a question I asked on the chat. It was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, my brain's not working. So
it's a lot to take on, that's for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, lots of broken threads, but like I said earlier, but yeah, I know how to make ruffles, and now I think I can do a fairly good job with ruffles in the future if I decide to. But ooh boy, are there lots of ruffles on that cosplay.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Every time I thought I was done with them, it was like, surprise, more ruffles.
Okay, so Rhinoceros. So he is the
Rhinar cosplayer.
Rhino cosplayer. So it's like, yes, Diana. I was like, I can't do that. I'm sure he can do it way better justice. How did you decide upon which cards you want to cosplay?
So for Bravo, that was easy. I just really liked Bravo, like aesthetically, and I thought I was inspired by Carolina's sexy Oldham cosplay. So I was like, that'd be really fun to do a female Bravo. I didn't realize that was something that had been done before. I was like clueless, but so that was really easy for me, and it was a lot of fun. Lena Bell was more of like the whole idea of giving out things. It just sort of came from that.
Yeah.
So, and Melody, I really like bards in general. I wish Yorick was more functional. Like Yorick's the kind of hero that you can bring to a UPF game, but like you gotta really have like the friends who want to do that game, and it's a very different game. So I was like, when Melody came out, I was like, oh my gosh, a functional bard. Sorry, Yorick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, this is a really cool idea. Like, I really love the round the table set. I think that is really, really cool in general. And I thought Melody was super pretty and super fun. I was like, that's awesome. And then choosing her was from the cosplay chat. People being like, hey, it would be really cool if someone could actually play the violin and sing and do this cosplay. And I was like, that would be really cool. And I could probably do that. So I did that. I forgot to actually play the violin at Worlds because I'm dumb. But I did bring Melody to the Round Rumble, which was an event in the US, and I actually played the violin there. I
Nice.
sadly don't think there's a recording, but it's out there somewhere in someone's heart. So, but and then my next cosplay, I had a really hard time choosing what I was gonna do next. Like after Melody, I was like, man, what's next?
Yeah.
Like, the Dust Till, I really like looking at cards. Like,
Yeah,
just
and there's
looking.
so many of them, right? There's so many choices. I have the problem of like, I want to do this one and this one and this one and this one, and it's really hard to narrow down, right?
Yeah. So like, I like looking at cards, and like the Dust Till Dawn set, I was like, there's nothing in here that's like really screaming. And then the Mechanologist set, Bright Lights, I was like, I can't really do anything Mechanologist-y. Like, so here we are. But I was drawn back till Dust Till Dawn. I was looking through the cosplay chat. We have like a little channel for like art that shouts cosplay.
Yeah.
And one of the things was the Radiant Flow garb. And I was like, that is really pretty. Another option I had was Kasai, but I was like, everyone's gonna cosplay Kasai. And
Yeah.
so, and like if I play Kasai, like I want a bit of a challenge as well with my cosplay that I do next. And I feel like Kasai would be challenging, but she's not as challenging as I want her to be.
Yeah.
The cosplay. So I was looking at the opposite of the Radiant set, the the Darkness set, as I've been calling it. So, and I looked at the art like closely. And I was like, this is really cool. And something I look for in cosplay is like, one, is it possible to do? Like, if can I look at it and be like, this is a thing I can do? Yes. I love how you just have that. You're like, I'm ready.
I opened it in my things I've been opening every day, but it's a full
yes.
so.
I love that. But yeah, did you know that the artist for the chest piece is a different artist than the head, arms, and leg piece? It's quite
wow.
Yeah, I don't know why. I assume the artist ran out of time to do the chest piece, so is what I'm assuming.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I looked at that and I was like, this is a really cool. And there's like fine details. And something else I was looking for was, is this cosplay winnable? Like, and when I say winnable, I don't mean first. Like, I'm in the US. I've got Carolina and Rachel. I'm aware that like I'm not a perfectionist by any means. So it's like I know that the cosplays I make are never gonna make first. Like in my chat, in like on my X profile, my description is I make cosplays to like brighten people's day, like to make people to make people be like, oh, that's cool. And the Darkness cosplay I thought would be really kind of fun because it's like a total 36 like 180 of what I'm doing. Like I'm going from like very cheery characters to very dark character. I just got my red eye contact lenses. I'm
nice.
I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna have like my leather mask and my leather cowl. It's gonna be very edgy and like no one's gonna recognize me, but like I'm really excited to just do it. But yeah, I would say like how I decide upon the cards is definitely like looking at previous cards and looking the cosplay chat like that has a lot of resources and like a lot of people being like, oh, look at this card. Especially newer cards. Older cards aren't necessarily like looked at as often, but you know, you also have to be aware of people know certain cards. Like people aren't going to know what the card Awakening looks like necessarily, or like what other really old cards. I can't think of any. Like
less played ones, right?
Sorry,
like the less played ones, like I don't know, no Scar people know Scar, but the early cards.
Yeah, like Rushing River isn't
Rushing River,
of that, which I actually really love that card. I think it's really pretty. But yeah, and I do have a little bit of a concern for the Darkness cosplay, like that people don't necessarily know it as well. But I'm like, whatever, you know, the judges will know it at least, and I could go around telling people about it, and because people know the Radiant ones already because of Bolton. Bolton's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just want to bring a little darkness to people.
Yeah, the shadow characters are so cool. I like the shadows.
Yeah.
So we got Henrik. He asks, "What's your favorite Guardian card and why is it pulverized?" So he was the pulverized cosplayer at Worlds.
Yeah, this one I had to think about it, and I think the answer is yes, it's pulverized, because to me it embodies what a Guardian card is. Like, it embodies everything about it. It's like, 1, does it have a big number? 2, is it gonna do something bad if it like hits you in some way? And 3, it's really, really predictable. Like, when I heave that pulverize, like, everyone knows it's coming next turn. Like, there's no question about it. It's just, it's one of those cards that's just like, as a Guardian card, it screams Guardian to me. And like, that's just the way I play Guardian. I know for a lot of people, Guardians is like very like staunch responses, like very defensive. But for me, it's more of these cards that make the decks. It's the pulverize. It's and like Crippling Crush is a very, very close second to Pulverize, because I love Crippling Crush because it's so flexible. Like, because Pulverize, you could dominate it or you can not dominate it, but you're probably dominating it just to get the damage through. But like Crippling Crush, it's like, it's interesting. You can also dominate it or not dominate it, and it costs less. It's one of those cards that's just like, I love Guardian so much. But yeah, it is Pulverized. So
it is Pulverized. So you guessed correctly. You got it right, Henry.
Yeah.
And then we have Zillion, and they ask, the whole cosplay was amazing. I'm most curious about the shoes. Can I ask about the making process? So did you get some shoes and cover them? What was the process in this?
Yeah, so these are my shoes. They actually fell apart a little bit, which makes it easier to explain them. So they were originally, so these are the shoes. They were originally black, like all black. These are just old shoes that I had. And I was like, these shoes barely fit me. Like, I don't know if you can see, but this is like very, very worn out. And I was like, okay, this would be like perfect for cosplay. So the actual shoe looks like this.
Yeah.
So all the straps are the same. And those are all painted. And this is also painted. You can see, again, the black showing through really badly. And then I used shoe glue to attach a little triangle.
Yeah.
And just like attach it to like the shoe itself. It's really funny because I was joking with my partner. The shoe glue is so strong, it tore off the shoe. Like, you see this little gray. Like, that's just part of the shoe that it tore off. It's not like the glue wore off. The shoe wore off. Yeah. Shoe glue, very useful. But yeah, and oh, sorry, that's not the full.
So having older shoes, did that make them be a bit more comfortable? Because we all know how important shoes are with cosplaying. Because if you got the wrong shoes, you can end up being quite a bit of pain, even if they look right. It's So working with an older pair of shoes, did that help with that?
Yes, definitely yes. For me, shoe comfort is like very, very important. So that was a key thing for me. Like, when I was thinking about these shoes is something I like dreaded doing. It was another thing. I was like, how do I do this? And there's like, I can't find them right now, but I ended up making an ankle cuff for like the front of the foot part and making it like a separate thing that I just velcroed around the ankle, because I thought about attaching it to the shoe, but I was like, this is too much. There's too much happening on the shoe. Like, I don't want it to all be tied to one thing. And especially because of the feather. Like, so I attached the cuff thing to the feather, and I think it worked out pretty well. The feathers I kept up using like a safety pin. I had a friend show me that little trick, and I was like, nice. So,
awesome.
Yeah, because I was so afraid of those feathers like dragging in like the mud in like Barcelona or like the streets. I was like, oh my gosh. So, yep.
Okay. So what are you looking forward to in Fab?
Heavy hitters right now, like definitely.
Yeah.
Heavy hitters.
Heavy
As a
hitters is
Guardian,
going to be great.
yeah, as a
I'm so
Guardian lover,
excited.
I'm like, yes, let's go. So I'm looking forward to the events as well. Like I really love the events. Like I think they mean a lot. I'm trying to do like one big event a month, like battle hardened or higher, basically. That's partially because I love going to events. If I could, I would fly to every event like Brody. That's like the dream. But in reality, my partner wants me to hang around, and that's fair. I like being with my partner too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to heavy hitters, seeing what kind of heroes we get. I'm really looking forward to the limited format. I hope it looks like Outsiders. Outsiders was a terrific limited format, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I really hope it looks like that. And I hope the sealed format looks better.
Sealed can be iffy. It's always been like that because you never know what you're going to get. So
yeah. That's definitely what I'm looking forward to right now. So
awesome. So we've already seen quite a few of your bits. Is there anything particularly you want to show off, or that you're?
Yeah,
I mean,
not right now. I don't think. I guess
we've
like
we've seen so many cool things throughout. So I think you've pretty much showed off all the good things, right?
yeah. I guess for my upcoming one, let me see. I've got.
Sneak peek.
I've got the cloak. I'm still working. So I'm
good coloration though.
Yeah, it's actually not black, which you wouldn't expect. But yeah, this is the cloak. This is layer 1. I'm really excited to tear it up and make it look fun.
Nice.
So yeah, I was very sick last week, so I haven't been able to work on cosplay at all. But I do have that so far. So you can.
Nice.
I am looking very forward to showing off the entire thing when it's done. So we thankfully have a leather shop that's near us, which is great. So I'm definitely gonna hit him up and ask for information on how to make the leather cowl and everything. So
yeah, because I mean the big cosplay competition thing in your area is your nationals, but is there anything else that has a cosplay competition? It's really hard for you guys because anything with FABtcg doesn't necessarily have one. So
we have the Los Angeles Pro Tour, which is that's where you'll see this cosplay.
Cool.
So debut.
Yes.
I don't know if they're doing one in Hartford, Connecticut, but I'm probably just going to take it easy. Even if they have a contest, I probably we'll do casual cosplay for that one because I want to give this cosplay the time it deserves. And I want to debut it like at the big one.
Big event. Yeah, PT is going to be great. It looks like it's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the photos from that.
Yes.
It's going to be good. So thank you so much. And thank you for being our cosplayer of the month, Diana. I really appreciate you spending time with me to talk about your cosplay and share a bit about your cosplay experiences with the community. I hope everyone's enjoyed watching. Please comment and subscribe. Let us know who you think is a great cosplayer, and we'll try and track them down and give them the Cosplayer of the Month mantle. I've been picking them all so far, but I am open to input of what people want to see and who they want on the show. Thank you so much, Diana. And this is our Cosplayer of the Month. Congratulations.